What is up? It's me, Pez Flips, and today is a better day for my little baby finger. And that is that I can flip for the most part. So I figured it's due. Not a ton of people were asking for it, but I enjoy the process of a review, so this is kind of my thoughts on this guy. After spending a bit more time, now, if you are unable to read the title, this is the MC, otherwise known as Minecraft Chicken God Ender. And this has the Japanese Tanto blade on it. So my understanding is that the Ender is actually the handles, and, the blade too, but mostly the handles because they make multiple different kinds of blades for this guy. I also think that MC is compatible with rep blades too. So if I had a rep blade, I could chuck it on here if I really wanted to. But I do like the blade on this guy, and that's probably what. If I'm looking at the designs of this thing, I will say that the blade is really what sold me. The handles are cool, don't get me wrong, but I'm just a big fan of the Japanese Tanto. I think it just looks very clean. In my first impressions, I talked about the look of it a lot, so I won't go into too much detail. One thing I will mention, just overall, is that you can see a lot of the raw finish in the milling for this guy, which is for me really cool. I think that the thing that this serves to be is not only a high quality flipper, which is what I'll get to, but also it is more of a small maker, and having these slight, some would say imperfections, I would say details, gives it a more personal look. Even though it still is milled by a machine, there is something a little I think charming is not the right word, but being able to see the machining patterns and such is just a neat feature. So it's not the most raw thing you've ever seen, and there is some differences between the chamfering, but I'm always somebody who's going to be grip over comfort, and I will say that this is actually pretty comfortable on the handles. I mentioned it being pretty grippy before, and it's titanium, so it's gonna have grip, but in all honesty, if you're like me and you prioritize moisturizing, as you should, sometimes this guy can get kind of slippery because there isn't actually a lot of machining on the handles. You can see, if we get close, there is a micro texture in there, but that being said, this, it doesn't really do a ton. Yeah, it's nice to have, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't really provide that much grip. Another thing to note is the length of this guy is kind of a little bit non-standard. I think when I compare it to a Kraken, which is probably the best thing I can compare this thing to, you'll see that it's mostly the blade. Actually, no, it's actually mostly the handles now that I look at it. It's a little bit of both, but both the handles and the blade are a slightly smaller size than what is kind of regarded as one of the more empirical standards of balisong clipping, that is. And let's see. In terms of comfort of the handles, I think I already mentioned that. Yeah, fine. This thing feels thicker than it actually is, the handles. I was surprised to see when I looked at the two handles of a Kraken compared to this guy. It actually looks like they're almost the same, if not the Ender being a little smaller. But the weird thing is, the handles on the Kraken feel much thinner than, the handles on the Kraken don't feel thin by any means, but this one feels exceptionally blocky, which is interesting because it's also rounder than the Kraken. I'm not sure exactly why it has that feel, but it feels like you have a pretty good feedback on what part of the handle you are holding on, and that's partly due to the speed channel that's on the back here that isn't as chamfered, which I actually think is better because it gives you a bit more grip. and because it's slightly rounded, it does help with those fans. Moving to the tolerance, this guy, sounds amazing, and there's like not really a ton of play. I was really surprised by how good the tolerances were on this thing, and I have carbon thin oil in this because the tolerances are so good. I don't need to put thick in there. And it's got a pleasant little ping sound to it. I still think I prefer the sound of something like this SR something. It has a deeper ring, which I am a little bit more partial to, but this isn't like exceptionally annoying either, so not really going to be complaining about it, at least. Tolerances, you heard, no tap, no play. I'm trying to think of the superficial things before getting into the flipping, but I feel like we're kind of there. I did bought this off of Old School Ballast Song, which is cool, for like, I want to say like $230, $240. I can't remember exactly, but this originally MSRP'd at like $500, so getting it at this price was pretty cool. And I know that MC stuff is all compatible with itself, so if I like something from MC and I want to get like an MC blade, for example, I know that they're running a line of I think like clip point, I don't know, they're doing like a Damascus blade launch, and it would work if I wanted to pick it up. I don't really want to spend that much money on a blade right now, but it's cool to know that you kind of have like future support because it's all going to stay on this same platform, which is, I think, kind of the same magic that Machine-Wise had for a really long time. And kind of, when you think about it, a similar avenue that Squid is attempting to do with the Thai Kraken, which is to have like a multi-platform base to work off of, like the Thai Kraken being able to use all blades, and the Kraken is like grown as a single knife into a platform itself. I don't know, just pretty interesting how it offers that. It gives it a bit more value because it can both be more unique to you, and also like if you don't love the look of it after a while, you can swap them out, and then you can, if you get tired of the other one, you can go back to the other one. I just think that's a cool feature that it has that I don't think enough makers do. The flipping, let's just waste no time. It's shorter, and you can kind of feel that. You have to work a little harder to get certain things out. Like the fans, you have to give it a little more oomph, and it doesn't want to stay moving as fast, but that's a good thing. And that's because I've had this similar experience with like the WZM Cygnus that I flipped a while ago, where it feels like you're flipping in slow motion, basically. And yes, you might have to give a little bit more effort to continue a motion, but I think it makes it easier to flip smoother because you don't oversend, or it's harder to overcommit, oversend on a trick and go past what you actually need. So yeah, I was actually like significantly surprised with this, and I think part of that is that this looks like it would be very heavy, but when you actually flip it, it's surprisingly light. Like this thing flips very similarly to the Kraken. They both have a slight handle bias. I would say that the Kraken has a stronger handle bias compared to the MC Ender, and this one has been modded out for. It's been tuned and put stainless steel washers in. But this one, I noticed that sometimes the fans get a little wobbly as well, and that's just because of that handle bias. Where this one can sometimes wobble, but I feel like there is more tip weight with this area right here, and it gives it kind of what it needs. There's not a ton right at this, like the little cups for the Zen pins. But yeah, like it can fan, you can see right here, it can fan really well. There are moments though where I will try to do like a rollover, and you can see there, it doesn't quite make it around the bend. So you have to work a little harder to get it over there. But I think that this is kind of an advantage to it. Once you get used to it, you can actually control exactly how far you want things to go. I don't think it's effortful to the point in where like I'm like in a session and I'm just really working to get one trick out. But there's been moments where like a certain thing is just a little bit more difficult. Going to other tricks, I would say that chaplains are also like fine on it. Not like the best by any means, but yeah, I mean like chaplains. I haven't really had it go away from me in a chaplain, so that's good. With the feeling of size of the handles, things like rollovers are actually pretty easy because the handles feel so thick. Even though they actually aren't, it feels easier to stay within the same path. This is kind of like one of the things I mentioned was a downside of this guy, because it's a little harder to stay on track with this one. I've gotten a bit more used to it, so it's not as bad now, but definitely something that I don't have to worry with this guy right here. For long sessions, yeah, no, this has been very good. I will say sometimes the aerials are a little inconsistent. That's actually why I got nibbled by this fella. And I think that's just because of the length. Like, the length is a little different, so trying to do aerials, especially on a live blade, is my least favorite thing to do because aerials feel kind of like I'm guessing. So maybe in the future I'll tape up my lives before I practice aerials. But yeah, it was a lot more sharp than I was anticipating. It didn't feel like it. And I think, in all honesty, it actually was dulled on this part. But at the tip it was not at all. And yeah, I underestimated it quite a bit. I have like not really been trying to, but like just attempting to do, yep, see there, I did it again. The parabolic, I've been attempting to do it. Ouch. And it's not really going too well, as you might be able to tell. And because of that, yeah, this guy, it bit me. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. I would say that for the price that I got this, like you can't really say no to it. It performs very well. It might not be the prettiest balisong, don't get me wrong, but I still think that its performance is what makes it really exciting. It feels like a better Kraken, honestly. And yeah, I mean, that kind of sums up this guy. Eventually I'll be doing another combo tutorial, so let me know what you guys think for that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing here in the next video, and then eventually when I'm in the mood to, / I have time to do so, I will work on this guy, so I'll do a final review on him. But I've been having a really fun time with this guy, so yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one, and I hope you have an excellent evening, an excellent night, what have you, and yeah, see you guys later. Bye.